get going. All right. So the first thing I want to do is start with hips. So if you can come to some sort of seated position, I would recommend getting on cushions or blocks to just raise yourself up. And focus is going to be hips and shoulders today. So you're going to sit cross-legged, and then we're going to just start off with a circular movement. So going in circles. Can you all see me all right with the sitting on the floor?
Yes, good.
Right. Oh, yeah, I'll mute you all. Sorry about that. And then do unmute yourself if you've got anything you want to say, yeah? So you're doing a circle, and it's one breath, one circle. And think about the head being part of the spine as well. You want the head to stay in line with the spine. You don't want it to be, some people kind of do a circle where the head stays still, and then they're going like this. You want the head to be part of the movement as well, yeah? Okay, and then change direction, please. Go the other way now. So this is just waking up the hips. One breath, one circle. I'm holding onto the knees. Take it as wide as you can. Really feel the way your body moves, the way your center of gravity changes. Okay, brilliant. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, so just checking again. I'm putting my hand here. This looks like my left hand, doesn't it? Thumbs up if that looks like my left, or does that look like my right? Left? Yeah, left. So I'm going to put my hand on my right leg, and I'm going to press gently into the knee. You want to keep your feet flexed to protect your knee. And I'm going to lean over my left knee. So inhale, get some length in the body, and then exhale. So this is working into the hip flexors. Exhale, coming forwards. You don't want any pain in your knees, okay? But you're going to feel something here, but we're aiming to get into the hip flexors. Exhale, lean forwards. And then come back up. And I would like you to change the cross of the legs. It doesn't matter which order you had, and then do the circle again. Okay. So going one way, trying to make the circles so that you really feel you might topple. And then change direction, please. Go the other way. And now we're going to place our knee on our left leg, and we're going to lift up. So get that length in the spine, and then exhale, coming over. So my hand's gone onto the floor, coming over the right knee. And pushing down. So I'm not quite on the knee, I'm more on the end of the thigh. And just getting that stretch. Again, same thing with your feet flexed to protect your knee. Great. And then come back up to sitting. Okay. So we've done both sides. And now what I'd like you to do is to put your hand, so this is quite similar to when we do a neck stretch. So you're going to put your hand onto your head. So let your head fall over to your left ear. Bring your hand onto your head and have that stretch in the neck. Take your right hand down to the floor or in the direction of the floor and feel the stretch go further into the neck and actually into the shoulder. And then keeping the head at that angle, take your left hand down, bring your right hand up and lean over. If it's not comfortable to have the hand in the air, you can let the hand fall, and the stretch is going to be happening all down the right side of the body. Deep breaths. Look up at the ceiling just to make sure you're not folding forwards, and the stretch is going to be happening on the side. And then push with your left hand, push yourself back a bit to make sure both your sit bones are down. See what that does to the stretch. And then come back up to center. And then we're going to do another rotation. We'll keep the legs as they are. So Swivel again. One breath, one circle. Like I say, remembering that the neck is part of the spine. And then change directions, please. Go back the other way. Great. Okay, so same thing, taking the head over to the right hand side now. So I've got my left hand. Ooh. Have I given the wrong instruction? No, taking the head over to the right. So I've got that stretch happening of the ear onto shoulder. And then I'm going to keep that stretch, take the hand down to the floor. So release it from the head. Bring your left hand up and over. And the stretch is happening all down the left hand side of the body. So same thing, look up, check that you're not folding forward. Maybe make the hand active. And if you don't get to the floor, not a problem. You can bring the hand onto, just bring it as close as you can. I think you probably should be able to get to the floor, but if you can't, just rest the hand on the thigh. If it's on the floor quite firmly, you can bend the elbow, deepen the stretch. And then take a deep breath here, because this is a great way of feeling the way the muscles release, because they're quite taut. And then I'd like you to push back with that hand that's on the floor. So the sit bones are level. One more breath, and then release. And come back up. Swap the cross of the legs. And rotate again. And change directions, please. Really trying to lean out. Great. Now right leg's coming out to the side. Left leg's coming in against the thigh. Hands coming down in the direction of the thigh, so right hand to right thigh. Might be that you can wedge it against the thigh. This is quite a strong side stretch. Flexed foot, active foot. And a similar stretch, you're bringing the head. It's going, so the hands go onto the back of the head this time. Look up at your elbow and push your right arm into your right thigh. As you look up at your left elbow, inhale, take the elbow back a bit. Inhale, take the elbow back. Last inhale. Inhale, take the elbow back. And then release. Let the hand come down first. Head comes up. And I'm going to bring the leg back in. And rotate again. Change direction. Don't forget to keep your feet flexed. Great. Okay. Same again on the other side. So take the leg out to the side. Bring the other leg. It doesn't have to hit reach the thigh. It's fine. You do want to make sure there's no pain in the knee. So if that does feel strong, you can take that out. You could support the knee would be the other thing with a cushion. Take advantage of being home. Legs out to the side. Hand comes against the thigh. So that's right arm against, sorry, left arm against left thigh. Hands coming onto the head, back of the head. Inhale, when you're ready, look up. So you want your knee pointing up with the extended leg, knee and foot. And then look up. Look at the elbow. Inhale, take the elbow back. Inhale again. Elbow back. And I should think at this stage, last inhale, taking the elbow back, it's possible to see which side, which hip might be slightly tighter. from the sensations you're getting? Great. And then release the arm. Always release the arm first. Bring the foot back. And that should be that the cross has changed. And again, do the circles. This is the last lot circling, so really try and take it as wide as you can. And then go the other way. Going the other way, please. And let that go. So the next pose is called deer pose. I'd like you to take your feet and do it in any order you like. I've got my left foot against my right thigh and the right foot's coming back behind me. Okay. Think about sitting upright. And this way it may well be enough. The other option is to put the hands, see if you can get them behind you, push the chest up, and you've got your, so getting that lift in the body. Think about getting both sit bones, both buttocks on the floor. And that may well be enough, or you might want to play with the idea of coming back onto your elbows, or possibly right down onto the floor, but it depends how much, again, you don't want any strain on the knees. So make yourself comfortable because you're going to be here about between 30 seconds to a minute. So go with whichever version. If you're upright, think about the sit bones, getting those level. And if you're lying back, you'll get a stretch in the front thigh. So take some deep breaths. And then bring yourself out of whichever pose you chose. Okay. Or very elegantly done. And swap sides. So do whatever you did in the last pose. Okay. Just repeat it. I'm going to stay on my elbows actually on this side, my tighter side. Feet are flexed to protect your knee. Okay. And then release. And come to having your legs in front of you. Okay. And we're going to get our belt now. And we're going to, so I'll just demonstrate this. It's the sequence where you bring the knee into the chest, and then you have the leg up, and then with the belt, take the leg out to the side, and then across the body. And then the last one that we'll do is once we've released the belt, is we will get hold of the back of the leg, or it might be lower down the thigh, and bring the body up. Okay, so that's a variation that we've not done before. And that will give you a strong stretch in the back of the leg. Okay, so if everyone would like to come to lying on the floor, and we'll all start with the same leg, so we'll all start with drawing our right knee into the chest. So this is working on the whole of the hip socket, but still with staying with the hip flexors. So lying on your back, I'll guide you through it. We're going to draw the right knee in towards chest, push into the extended left leg. And then do that for a couple of breaths. As you inhale, the knee will release slightly. As you exhale, draw the leg in. And then get hold of your belt. And you don't have to get the leg particularly high. You want to have the leg straight. So it's not about having it really high. It's about having the knees not bent. Toes come back towards you. Take a couple of breaths. Check what you're doing with your shoulders. Make sure your shoulders aren't tight, that they are in contact with the floor. Push into both heels and then get hold of the belt in the right hand. Bring your left hand onto your hip flexor. Hold it down. and take the leg out to the right. So you're making, well, it's a right angle. You've got the right leg coming out at a right angle from the torso. You want your left shoulder down and you want your left hip down. Okay? So it's not about how far over you get the leg, it's about having left shoulder and left hip down. And then we'll bring the leg back up. Do the slight turning of the toe towards the floor. So you're sort of turning the toes, heels going up towards the ceiling, toes are going towards the floor. You've got your legs slightly across your midline, and the stretch will be happening here. All right. And once you've done that, you can release that, and you will now take the foot right across the body. No attempt to keep the spine on the floor anymore. Leg comes right across the body, and you look over the opposite shoulder. And this stretch is from fingertips to toes. It's going right across the body, so really nice fascial stretch. Okay, and then the last one in the sequence then is bring the leg back up, release the belt, and take the foot towards, get hold of the back of either the thigh or the calf and lift yourself up towards the foot. So torso is coming off the ground, yeah? And then release and let the leg rest down for a minute. And just feel, how does that feel? Does the leg feel heavier, closer to the ground? Try the other side. So when we're ready to go, make sure you've got your belt near to hand. Make sure you've got enough space to be able to do all the different moves. And now draw the left leg in. Push into the heel of the right leg, make it active. Release slightly on the inhale. Pull in more deeply on the exhale. Okay. Just squeeze in the abdominal organs. And then hook your foot. Nice straight leg. Again, check what you're doing with the shoulders. This will be all along the back of the leg. Might be more in the calves, might be more in the hamstrings. You don't want anything sharp at any of the points where the muscles attach to the bones. So you don't want anything sharp. If you're getting that, I would suggest that you lower the legs considerably. Okay. And now we're taking the belt in the right hand. Sorry, in the left. Right hand's come onto the hip. And the leg comes out to the side. So the key thing is that your spine is in contact with the floor and the stretch is really happening in the hip. Leg comes back up and you get the, just slightly across the midline, turning the toes in the direction of the floor. So it's that sort of angle with the toes. And then release that, let the foot go back to normal. And bring the entire leg across the body and look over the opposite shoulder. Take a big inhale here and feel that in the upper body. Great. And then bring the leg back up. Release the belt. Get hold of the back of the leg, wherever's comfortable for you. and lift your torso towards the leg. Three breaths here, and then release. So bring the feet onto the floor and let the knees fall together, and just rest here for a second or two and let the body absorb what we've just done. So from here, you might want to watch. If you can't see the screen, I would suggest put your hands behind the back of the legs, roll yourself up to sitting so you can see. Roll a few times just to wake up the spine. Do check behind you, but you've not got anything behind you before you come up. And then what we're going to do is we're coming onto our front. So we're going to do some back strengtheners now. So we're coming onto our front, but I'm wanting to work the rhomboids, which are between the shoulder blades. So we're going to do locust. We're going to do a couple of shoulder stretches as well. But for locust, what I'd like you to do is when you come up and take the arms back, just take the hands the other way, okay? And you will then be activating the muscles just between the shoulder blades and getting a nice stretch. We don't often manage to make them contract. So I'm going to suggest you do that. Okay, so come to lying on your front. We're going to do that 3 times. I kept my legs down for that one, and I would suggest doing that for the first one so you can concentrate on how it feels to have the shoulders rotating in that different direction. So on an inhale, up we come, hands come back and then rotate. So you've got your palms facing out. Make sure you're looking down so you're not jamming the neck. Don't want to be cranking the neck by looking forwards. Take an inhale, see if you get a little bit higher. Each inhale, try and lift up a bit. And then release. Bring the hands in front of you. Forehead onto hands. Wiggle the bum to release. So this is working the rhomboids between the shoulders, but it's also working the ligaments that run down the side of the spine and strengthening those as well. Okay, so we're going to do that again 2 more times, and we'll think about doing the legs as well. So getting into position, and on an inhale, up we come, hands back, twist the hands, bring the legs up. Inhale, try and really push into the toes. Try and lift the thighs off the ground. One more breath and then release. Down you come. Wiggle the bum. You might prefer to have the head going to one side. If you do that, just make sure you alternate which ear you release to the ground. And here we are for the last one. So, hands are back behind you. And on an inhale, come up. Do the legs as well. Push, 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 push. Don't forget to breathe. Use the breath. Try and take yourself a bit higher. And release. And like I say, the hands in front of you. You could do the hands in 1 potato, 2 potato if you find it hard to get the head that low. It's not comfortable. And then wiggle from side to side. And then we're going to put a shoulder stretch in. So this is a new one. We're going to take one arm under. So this will be familiar. We often go from Sphinx into bringing the shoulder under. But then I want you to take the other arm under as well and wiggle yourself, if possible, forwards. So your chin is very much over the arms and you've got the palms facing up and the back of the hand in contact with the floor. Okay? So have a go at that, see how you get on. So I wiggled myself forwards and the stretch is happening in the rotator cuff. How does that feel? Again, you don't want to have any pain in the joints, so nothing on the elbows. This is a stretch that's targeting the shoulders. And whereas the last one we were contracting the rhomboids, now we're stretching them the other way. Hopefully that feels okay. And now, come out of that, come back into Sphinx for a minute. We're going to do a stretch that gets into the front, into the pecs. Hands coming out. So I've gone for left hand out because then you can see what I'm doing. And then I'm coming back and over. Your foot doesn't have to get to the floor. That's not what's important here. What's important is the stretch. It's another possibility to take the arm back, but again, it's completely optional. So if we can all do this stretch, please. Same as per last teaching instruction, you don't want to be getting pain in the elbow. That's where the elbow is trying to make up for tightness in the shoulders. And elbows, like wrists, are delicate, and you don't want it to be taking the strain. And then come back down. And it's, you know what the routine is, same on the other side. So if you want to work on the other shoulder as well, you'll take the top arm back. Yeah, it's completely optional. And if this feels harder on one side than the other, then there's possible insight into which shoulder's tighter. And surprisingly, we had a bit of that thinking about the hips earlier. Quite often it's the opposite shoulder to the tight hip. So instead of the tightness going down one side of the body, it goes across, it's mirrored across. And the theory in yoga is that whatever you do to one side of the body, we're going to come out of that now, you do to the other. So, you know, what you do to the shoulders works on the hips as well. So they are very strongly connected. So now we're coming back into a child's pose. So toes are touching, knees are wide. If you need to put something between, if your bottom doesn't make it to the heels, please feel free to put a cushion or a block here, or just give you some support. Create some space in the knees. If you know your knees are sensitive, I'd recommend doing that. And then we're going to come forwards. And initially we're going to rest. So really release. And then I want to take the hands in front of me, and I've spidered the fingers, so that's where the fingers are pushing into the ground, so that makes it more active on the back. You can feel that. And then completely your choice which side you go to. Take the hands to one side, and you can possibly place the hand that's from the direction you've not gone in on top of the other hand. Not very good. So I've gone to the left, and I've placed my right hand on top of my left. And the stretches down the side of the body. Think about shunting your bottom back if it's lost contact with the heels, and maybe even pushing. So I'm using the left hand and I'm pushing arm, I'm pushing myself back, and that's deepening the stretch on the right. So release down into this. If it's too strong, ease off. You want to release into it. You don't want to be straining. You want to be relaxing into this. It's a passive stretch. You'll get more by doing that. You'll get more of a stretch, more of the muscles relaxing more. You'll get a deeper practice by less sometimes really is more. Okay, and then come back to the center. Rest for a second. I'm just having the palms in contact with the floor. And then over to the other side. Same procedure, pushing back with the hand. So that was a nice stretch for the side of the body. So come back and come forward onto your tummy again, please. What we're going to do now is we're going to do opposite arm and legs. So this is a back strengthener again. So I'm making a X shape with my body and moving on your own breath. As you inhale, come up, opposite arm and leg, release down. Do look at the floor because that's better for the neck. I'm moving on your, I've done the other side now. Inhale, try and get the arm and the leg as high as you can. Moving on the breath. Go with your own breath. So I'm not going to give you instructions, just keep going. Opposite arm and leg, as high as you can. Pointing the toes, making the leg really active. Reaching with the hand. And this is working. What I was saying about sometimes you have one shoulder and one hip that are equal, that are tight and they're opposites. This is getting into that dynamic. Okay. Keep going. And then for the last one, start to take both arms and legs off the floor and take them as high as you can. Try and get the arms above the head. Don't forget to breathe. Go on a little bit more. Push into the fingers, push into the toes, and then release. Hand comes, or head comes onto hat. And give your bum a wiggle. So now reach back for one foot. So we're going to start doing a bit of stuff on the piriformis. So reach back, get hold of one foot. If you can't get hold of the foot, get hold of the fabric of your trousers, or you can get your belt and you can hook the foot. Yeah, if that's better for you. You might need to go to your side in order to get the foot hooked to begin with, and then bring it back and do whatever feels good. If you didn't bring a belt to class, then the other option is to have the feet, do both feet and have them coming straight back into the air. Okay? So go with whichever version you get. And you can have the body upright if you want, or you can stay closer to the floor. Push the top of the thigh into the ground, and you'll feel that the stretch changes. And that's, you've activated, you've now identified the piriformis muscle. Okay, and release. And do the same on the other side. Or if you were with both feet in the air, then take the feet down and rest for a minute before bringing them back up again. Once you've got into the pose, push the upper part of the bent leg or the top of the thigh into the ground and feel the way the stretch changes. It's really good to get into that muscle. It can get really tight. And then let that go. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come up onto all fours. And just as we did opposite arm and leg, we're going to do that now on all fours. And as you exhale, draw the knee and the elbow together. So I'm going to do 5 on each side. Inhale, extend. So I'll make that the first one. I've done 2, but we'll call that the first one. 2, 3. If you wobble, that's fine. 4. really rounding. I can't round particularly because I'm going to lose my headphones at 5. But if you can tilt the head and bring it towards the knee, that would be great. Other side now. So exhale, curling the spine as much as you can. Exhale, bring the knee and elbow together. 3, knee and elbow together. 4 and 5. Okay. And then from here, we're going to push up into downward dog. Not for long. So coming up into downward dog. Oh, there they go. Okay. And you might want to walk the dog. I'd like you to bring your feet in a little bit closer. Take your hands wide, wider than you would normally. And then you're going to rock backwards and forwards. So you're bringing the head in the direction of the floor. And this is working the shoulders and the upper back again. So you're rocking backwards and forwards. Hands have gone really wide. Okay, and then take the right foot up, please. Bring the hands into normal hip distance apart. So the right foot's gone up, right toes are in the direction of left shoulder, arms are really straight, and then bring that through to a lunge. So you may well want to put a cushion underneath your left knee. Completely up to you. So we're in a high lunge. Bring your hands into a pistol grip and take them. If you start wobbling, just move the foot over to the side a bit more towards the side of the mat. Bring the hands up above the head in this pistol grip. And then looking up at arch back. Belly's drawn in to protect the back. And then let that go. And now I would like you to take the foot across the mat and bring, actually probably easier, no, I'm not going to do it that way. I'd say it would be easier. We're going into pigeon, but I think it would be easier to push back into downward dog again. So apologies for that. So come back into downward dog. Okay. And then we're going to bring the right foot forwards towards the hands. And this is called pigeon. So wiggle, don't let too much weight go onto the front knee. I need blocks because I'm not level. So I'm going to get some blocks and come back in. So I find this really useful to support my right buttock. Okay. So if you've needed to go and get some cushions, please do, or blocks. We're going to be here for a little while, so there is time. And I would suggest if you do get a block, to actually go back up into downward dog and come forward, just to keep your knee protected, and then rest into the pose, okay? So at the moment I'm in, I've got my upper body upright. I've got the back of my foot on the floor, sorry, the top of my foot on the floor. And I'm thinking about trying to be level. So one hip's not raised more than the other. So you go as high as you need to with the props to aim to get it level, and do make sure you've not got lots of weight on the front knee, yeah? It's just wriggling that leg back a bit. Okay. So you can stay upright, or if you prefer, you can come forwards. If this is too much on your knee, then you would go into reclining, you'd go into eye of the needle. So I'll demonstrate eye of the needle for those who need to. You find that just too strong on the knee, you don't want to put any strain on your knee. So eye of the needle is where you're on your back. It's exactly the same pose, it's just not weight bearing. Hand comes through, or not, as the case may be. You don't want to be getting tight in the shoulders. You don't want to be doing this to get hold of the leg. If you're in eye of the needle, Still, it's the right leg across, so you've got your right toes flexed towards the shin to protect right knee. And you may well want to just keep the foot on the floor and work on the hip flexor because it's the hip we're trying to open. So completely up to you. For those of us who are in pigeon, I'm going to ask you to come up a bit now, please. And then I'm going to ask you to take the back knee off the floor. Okay, so what that will do is it will give you the stretch here in the piriformis. So take the back knee, so that's the left foot, take it off the floor, and you will feel, if you feel it in the knee, then just drop it back down again. You want to feel it here at the top of the thigh in the piriformis. And then let that go. Release, bring the leg back, and come into downward dog again. And now it's left leg coming up and going towards your bottom or right shoulder. And then bring that leg through. If you need to use your hand to bring the leg forwards and encourage the leg forwards, absolutely fine. If you want to put a block under your back knee to protect your back knee, again, please do. If you know that you were a bit wobbly before and you want to take the foot slightly wider, again, front leg towards the edge of the mat, please do. I'm going to go for a block. Knees are really delicate and we want to keep them protected. And then it's the pistol grip, okay? So pistol grip, or I think it's called arrow mudra is the other name for it. Bring the hands up. When you're being stable, bring the hands up above the head. And then belly's drawn in. You can have the foot either way, the back foot, whichever feels right for you. And then we're arching back. Okay, and release. And then think about what you needed on the last side for pigeon. Get your props ready. That was a teaching instruction. Would have been useful if I'd given it at the start of the pose before. So get any props you need ready. And then you're coming back into downward dog. So step back into downward dog. Okay. And then same, now we're going to do pigeon. So you bring the left foot up again, let it fall towards the shoulder briefly, bring it through. And I would say don't adjust it. The pose has the foot, the foreleg running parallel to the mat, to your body, which is never going to happen for me, not in this lifetime. And your knees, like I say, you just don't want to mess with them. Once you get into the pose, that's where your mobility is at the moment. So stay with that and just think about propping yourself. So you can see I put a block here and getting the hips level. Yeah. And make that your focus and no pressure on the knee. So I would actually go for two. This is my tight side. I'd go for 2 blocks on this side. So use what, take advantage. You're at home. Got any cushions? Might be nicer. And then we're upright in this pose in terms of the torso, upper body. And just settle into it. Or the other option is to come forwards if you prefer and rest down into it. So you choose what's best for you. So I'm just going to try and sort these headphones out. They're being a bit troublesome. My head seems to have got smaller, which I'm sure can't be the case. So go with what's nice. I'm going to actually come onto my fingertips and get more of a back bend. So again, if you've got some books to hand or some cushions and you can do this, might be nice to try. And then the next part of this pose was to take the back knee off the floor. And get the stretch coming into the piriformis of the right leg now. Sorry, it's not the piriformis, it's the psoas muscle. Piriformis is at the back. It's the psoas muscle that's here. We'll do the piriformis next. Okay, and let that go. So remove any props and come onto all fours. Do cat-cow to release. That's just to. And now we're going to come onto our back and do a piriformis stretch. So the piriformis stretch, demonstrate it facing you. I'm giving us the gentler one of the two. You've got your, so we take our right leg over our left, tight cross of the legs, and then get hold of the right leg at the knee and the ankle and draw it into your midline. And this is where the piriformis is. Okay, so the psoas is on the front and the piriformis is here. And roll your shoulders back and down. And draw the knee towards your belly button. Really be quite strong with this. You can get a good release. It's a deep, deep nerve, deep in the leg. And it's can easily get tight and not be released. And then swap sides, please. Do the other side. Same thing. Top leg, you've got hold of the knee, and you've got hold of the ankle, and you're taking it towards the middle of the tummy. Taking the knee in the direction of the middle of the tummy. Do roll your shoulders back and down, make sure they're not tensing up. One more breath, take it in a little bit deeper if you can. Send the breath to that deep muscle. Yeah, imagine it releasing with the spaciousness of the breath. And then let that go. Take the arms out wide and we're going to do a reclining twist. So bring the legs up and take the legs over to the right. Look over your left shoulder. You can bring the hand up and place it on the top thigh to deepen the stretch if you want. If you want to put a cushion between the legs or underneath the knee to support it, please do. Try and keep the legs parallel to each other. And then bring the legs up and across the body the other way. And look over the opposite shoulder again. Okay, then I'm going to ask you to put your hands behind your knees and check behind you for space, but roll the spine. So roll a few times just to stimulate the whole of the back, all of the spine. And then eventually on the fourth or fifth, come up to sitting. And get hold of your belt. So you're going to need to sit on something. If you can sit on your heels if you want, but I would suggest and get a cushion and put it behind. But I would suggest getting a cushion under the knees as well for this one. So we're going to be here for a minute or so. So please do go and get something. And go with what's comfy for you. Hero's pose, this is called, and it's very good for uh, getting synovial fluid into the knee capsule. If you've got knee issues, if you can't sit at home like this, then that can be very good. So we're going to get our belt again as well, please. Okay. And what we're going to do, 2 movements with the belt. So the first one, so actually just before we do it, if you once you're seated, if you can just tilt your pelvis one way and then tilt the pelvis the other way, just to get that sense of the positioning. And then I want you to engage your belly muscles and draw the pelvis and the ribs towards each other. Okay. So this is going to stop you flaring in the ribs. So think about contracting this space. So you're drawing the ribs down, pelvis up, belly in. Okay, and that will just stop you flaring in the ribs and jamming into the lower back. So the first one we're going to do, I've got tight shoulders, so I'm going to have the belt quite far apart. You're taking the belt up. So remember to keep that drawing down of the ribs and up of the pelvis. Take the arms up above the head. And so I've got the belt quite wide. Take the belt as wide as you need to. Keep that drawing in of the ribs. Take the belt down behind you. Inhale, come up. Exhale, take the belt down again. Inhale, come up. Exhale, down. Check that you're still doing the thing with the ribs and the pelvis, please, and the belly button. And then exhale back down. Inhale up. So we've done that 4 times. I'm going to do it 8 times. Exhale down. Up. Maybe just try to feed the hands along the belt a bit. You want the arms to stay straight. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. You do want the arms to stay straight. Exhaling down. Can you feel the way the rhomboids, I was talking about them earlier, the muscles between the shoulder blades, the way they're contracting and working? So that was, I think we've got 2 more to do. Remember, shoulder, rib cage and pelvis, come up. And then the last one. Okay, so just rest for a second. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come up. I'll show you sideways as well. I'm taking the belt a little bit further now. And then you're bringing the arm up against the ear. I'm going to change the way I'm holding the belt. I've got the belt like this now. Okay. And one arm is again next to the ear, and the other arm you're trying to take to the midline of the back, and you're really actively pulling on the belt. Now hold that, please, for 5 breaths. So raised arm is next to the ear, and this is really active. You're pulling with both arms, thinking about getting the back arm towards the midline, but the raised arm has to stay by the ear. One more breath. And then release. Okay, come down. Just rest for a minute, roll the shoulders. And roll the shoulders the other way. And then we've got to do the same again on the other side. So you will change the way you're holding the belt. I'm going to make sure I've got the metal bit here. So take the belt up by the ear, and the other hand pulling. I'm adjusting it so that I've got a strong pull. I'm really wanting that sense of the pull happening between the 2 arms. 5 inhales and exhales, moving on your own breath. Really breathe deeply, because you can feel the way the breath's creating space in this pose between the muscles, in the chest, and even in the side of the body, the ribs, right the way down and beyond. Keep the arms active, keep getting that pull. 4, and 5. Great. Let that go. Okay. So we're going to roll the shoulders down. We've got one more to do with the belt. So rolling the shoulders. And now I'd like you to get the belt and hold the belt so you've got it that far apart. Okay. So a couple of inches. Hold the belt behind you. And then exhale, you're going to roll forwards. And you're going to bring the belt so the head comes towards the ground, and you're bringing the belt up and over, well, away from the body as far as possible. Okay. Take a few breaths here. Doesn't matter if you don't get to the ground, doesn't matter if the hands don't come very far away. You should be feeling a strong stretch. And then release. And that's your last pose. Okay, so we're going to come into Shavasana now. So let that go. Take any props that you've got away and come to lying on the floor for Shavasana. If you know that we've worked the lower back quite strongly, please keep your feet on the floor. But otherwise, everyone just come to lying down and I'll talk you through the relaxation. Or if you prefer to sit, then feel free to sit, it's your choice. But normally we lie flat and then the body can just, the back can settle and it can just calibrate and take in all the adjustments that we've made to the shoulders today. So feel free to wiggle the shoulders, think about increasing that contact with the ground so the palms are facing up. Feel the shoulders, like I say, feel free to wiggle and then let it go. Bring your attention to right thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger of the right hand. And then over to left thumb, index finger, middle finger, left ring finger, and left little finger. And then think about the space between the fingers. It's the right hand and the left hand. Is there a little bit of tightness there, a little bit of sort of holding up the air? If there is, give a little wiggle, let them release a little bit more. And I would like you to imagine a line going between the two hands. So we're going to make a triangle. So the breath is going to come from the nostrils to the thumb of the left hand and the thumb of the right hand. And then you're going to imagine that this is joined by the line between the two thumbs. And on an inhale, I'd like you to imagine the breath coming up from the fingers to the nose. And on an exhale, the breath coming from the nose to the fingers. Inhale, air travels from the thumb and finger to the nose. And on the exhale, back down. So just imagine that happening. And then take the triangle to the toes. So it's from the nose to the toes. And imagine these ribbons of air traveling from the toes to the nose and back down again, moving on your own inhale and exhale. And an invisible line between the two toes. So the whole of the body is covered in this triangle. And now take the breath from the tailbone on the inhale all the way up the spine to the crown of the head. And then on the exhale, let the air travel, cascade down the front of the body. So there's a circular movement set up. So it cascades down the front of the body all the way to the pelvis, And then on the inhale, the breath travels from the tailbone at the base of the spine all the way to the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, it cascades down the body, down the front of the body. Inhale, tailbone to tip of crown of the head. Exhale, crown of the head, down the front of the body to the tailbone. So there's a circular movement with the breath. Before it was triangular, now it's circular. Inhale, tailbone to crown. Exhale, crown to tailbone. Inhale, tailbone to crown. Exhale, crown to tailbone. So the body, or the torso, is wrapped in your breath, cocooned by your breath. And then I'd like you to think, breathing in, I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm breathing out. Breathing in, I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm breathing out. And then on the inhale, may I be peaceful and at ease. And on the exhale, may I be well. Inhale, peaceful and at ease. Exhale, may I be well. Peaceful and at ease. May I be well. Please bring someone to mind that you care deeply about. And as you inhale, send that message to them. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be well. Peaceful and at ease. May you be well. And then very slowly move the thumb against the fingertip, or wiggle the toes. Move the head gently from side to side. And you may want to stretch the arms up over the head. Point the toes and feel the length of the spine. Or you may want to draw the knees into the chest and give yourself a hug, hugging the knees into the chest. Or you may want to do both or neither. Whatever movement feels good for you, bring a little bit of movement back into the body. And then taking as much time as you need, slowly come onto whichever side you prefer and lie there in a fetal position for a couple more breaths. Really easing yourself slowly back into the room. Think about what you can hear through your left ear, what you can hear through your right ear. One of them should be quite muffled. And then very slowly come back up to sitting, please. Taking all the time you need, really go gently. Thank you for practicing with me. If you'd like to unmute yourself, that'd be great.